learning, and practicing. That's exactly what we're going to do in today's video. Today's story tells the adventure of a young woman named Emma who decides to go on a trail. And along the way, she discovers much more than she expected. But before we get into the story, let's take a look at some useful words and expressions. This part is essential because it helps your brain make connections and understand everything better within the context of the story. Here's an important reminder: watch or listen to this video several times. Repetition is what makes words and phrases feel natural and automatic. And for those who want to speed up their learning, try shadowing. This technique means listening to an English audio and repeating what you hear almost at the same time, imitating the pronunciation, rhythm, intonation, and natural speed of the original speaker. All right then, let's get started. Breeze. Explanation: a light and gentle wind that feels soft when it moves through the air. It's not strong like wind, just a calm, refreshing movement of air. Tighten. Explanation: meaning to make something more firm, secure, or tight. It's often used for straps, belts, or knots. Strap. Explanation: a long narrow piece of material used to carry or hold something in place, like on a bag, camera, or watch. Tent. Explanation: a portable shelter made of fabric, usually used for camping. You can sleep inside it when spending the night outdoors. Forecast. Explanation: a prediction of what the weather will be like in the near future. To brush against, to touch something lightly, or to graze something, usually in a soft and brief way. Tip: avoid translating it literally as to brush against, meaning to scrub or to clean. When brush is used alone, it can mean to clean with a brush, but with against it takes on the meaning of to touch, lightly. Fresh and earthy. These are two words that describe the type of smell or atmosphere in the air. Fresh means clean, pure, and light. Earthy means natural and like the smell of soil or wet ground. When combined, fresh and earthy describes the natural, moist, and pleasant smell of the earth after rain. It creates a feeling of peace and connection with nature. Chilly. Explanation: when the air feels a little cold, not freezing, but cool enough to need a jacket or sweater. Sparkle. Explanation: to shine with small, bright flashes of light, often used to describe water, stars, or eyes. Harmless. Explanation: something or someone that cannot cause harm or danger. Safe. All right, now that we've learned some key words, let's move on to the story. Emma had always loved the outdoors. That Saturday morning, she decided to go hiking in a forest she had never visited before. She packed a small tent, some food, a flashlight, and her map. The weather forecast mentioned a bit of rain, but she didn't mind, she liked adventures. The forest was calm and full of life. Birds were singing. The trees were tall and green, and the smell of wet earth made her feel at peace. She followed a narrow path that led deeper into the woods, planning to camp near a waterfall she had seen marked on the map. In the afternoon, a light drizzle began to fall, covering the forest in a soft mist. Emma found a quiet clearing, set up her tent, and prepared a small meal. As night fell, the air became chilly. She turned on her flashlight to check her surroundings. Just trees, silence, and the soft sound of rain. Later that night, she heard something moving outside the tent. She held her breath, listening carefully. Then she saw a small shadow pass by a fox, curious but harmless. That night reminded Emma of her father, who had passed away 2 years ago. The man who had taught her to love nature. He was the one who took her on her first camping trip, showed her how to set up a tent, start a fire, and listen to the sounds of the forest without fear. She remembered one special night. A family of foxes had surrounded their tent and stolen all their food. It was late, the darkness felt alive, and every noise outside made her heart race. But her father, calm as always, held her close and whispered that everything would be all right. Slowly, she began to relax, feeling safe in the middle of the chaos, comforted by the warmth of his voice. Emma smiled at the memory and whispered softly,
"Good night, little one."
When morning came, the forest looked completely different. Sunlight filtered through the leaves, and the sound of running water echoed nearby. Following the sound, Emma walked for about 15 minutes until she finally reached the waterfall. The water sparkled in the sunlight, falling into a clear pool surrounded by ferns and rocks. She stood there quietly, feeling a deep sense of relief and joy. Emma took a deep breath and smiled. She had found more than just the waterfall. Emma felt her father's presence in the quiet beauty around her. That's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you did, listen again to improve your listening skills and practice your shadowing. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your curious friends. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. See you next class.